There are two guys that go to the gym together. The first one consumes content from Sam Sulek and other steroided bodybuilders, and he takes their advice of eating dirty foods as long as it fits the macros. He starts to make a lot of progress and puts on a lot of muscle, but he feels very unhealthy and he struggles to focus in work and in school. The second guy follows the advice in this video and still manages to build an aesthetic physique and put on a lot of muscle in a small amount of time, but he also stays lean, looks great, feels good, and excels in business and studies. He does great in all aspects inside and outside of the gym. And the first guy, because of all of the foods he was eating, he's feeling tired, and to manage that, he started taking steroids and injecting testosterone, peptides, and all other shit into his physique, and he ends up dying at 30 years old. But the second guy stays healthy, gets sunlight, goes outside, feels great every single day, continues to make progress as a natural, and he lives a long life and dies at about 95 years old. Although this is just a story, it's a very clear example of what happens in this day and age. But you want to be able to live a long, healthy life while also making a bunch of progress in the gym, putting on a bunch of muscle while looking good and feeling great throughout all of it. And that's exactly what I'm going to help you do inside of this video. My name's Billy, and I help guys go through the skinny to jacked transformation because I was there myself. And if you want my help with that, you can check out the top link in the description. Let's get right into the video. The first thing I want to preface this video with is the importance of food quality. In the fitness and especially the bodybuilding industry, there's this lie that everyone's being told. It doesn't matter what you're eating as long as it fits in your macros, as long as it fits your calories and you're getting enough protein. So it's okay to eat 10 donuts if it fits your macros, because it's all calories in and calories out. And to an extent, there is some truth to that. However, even if you manage to track everything perfectly and all of these donuts and sugary shit you're eating fits into your diet, you'll be unhealthy, you'll be tired, you'll be fatigued, you won't build an optimal amount of muscle, so it's not the best way to go. If you're taking and pumping so much steroids every single week, every month, I can understand why this kind of diet might work for you. But if you're young, if you're natural, and if you're just trying to put on the most amount of muscle while still feeling good so you can perform well and work hard in school, in business, and whatever else, then that's why you should follow the diet that I'm teaching you in this video and not go for the roided up bodybuilder calories in, calories out diet. Because although it might feel nice, it will mess you up in the long run and you won't become a high performer in the gym, in school, or in work. So as a general rule, I try and keep the foods and the meals that I'm eating to as few ingredients as possible. And this is just an interesting hack you can remember in your mind. When you're trying to decide what to eat, usually the thing that you can name every single ingredient foods inside of it is the thing you should go for. So as an example, I've been eating breakfast because I'm on a bulk. However, the breakfast I've been eating is very clean. I have 2 slices of sourdough bread from a bakery. It's like real sourdough bread. And then I have 8 eggs. And you might say this is too many eggs, it's not good for your cholesterol. I completely disagree. Because cholesterol is actually the building blocks for testosterone, and this is exactly what will help you build more muscle inside of the gym. So you can do your own research on this, but I've done a lot, and it's actually very beneficial to you to increase the good levels of cholesterol inside of your body, and this will help you push harder in the gym. And also you just get so much protein from 8 eggs. You get 56 grams of protein, so it's very effective, and it's also a great breakfast, and I'm getting in some healthy carbs, and I'm also getting in protein. So that's an example of the kind of meals that I'm eating. And for lunch, my mom kind of prepares my lunch because I'm still in high school. However, what you want to aim for is to get one high quality source of protein, whether that's ground beef, chicken, steak, minced pork, whatever it is, just one high quality source of protein. Make sure you're always getting in your protein. This is always the thing you want to be getting in first. I'll touch on it more later. However, after you get your lean source of protein, then you're going to want to go into a starchy carb. People do carnivore, which is they just eat red meat and then maybe eggs. However, I don't think that's the greatest diet, because if you're bodybuilding, if you're lifting, carbohydrates do benefit you. But the types of carbohydrates you eat is also very important. So the type of carbs we want to be eating Stuff like sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, white rice, and maybe even pumpkin as well if you want to give that a go. So this is the main thing you want to think with your meals. You want to get one high quality source of protein and then one kind of starchy carbohydrate. And yes, of course, you can have vegetables as well, but it's not really the focus because it's not as important as you might think. But yeah, obviously try and get in some vegetables every now and again. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is macro timing, which is when you want to be eating the different macronutrients throughout the day. So we're going to start with the most important one, which is protein. The thing with protein is you want to be eating it around the clock. So every few hours, if you're trying to build the most amount of muscle, you want to be getting in some protein. So you wake up, you have protein with your breakfast. Midway through the school day, you have a snack with protein. Lunch, you have more protein. After school, dinner, after the gym. You want to be getting in protein throughout the day. Every couple hours is the most optimal. And yes, you won't be able to always do this, but just keep this in your mind. You want to be getting protein in around the clock. That's why it's important to eat protein when you wake up in the morning, because you've had a whole 8 to 9 hour period where you've been asleep and had no protein, and now your muscles are trying to recover, they're trying to repair. So if you don't feed them some protein, they're not going to be able to grow back bigger. So when you're thinking about when to eat your protein, it's not so much about eating all of it in one meal, because that actually won't help you as much as you think. It's about spacing it out more, 20 grams here, 30 grams here, 40 grams here. With each meal, with each snack, just try and get in protein. And then the next thing is, you want to be getting in your carbohydrates before and after your workout. So I always have carbs with my lunch inside of school because I go to the gym after school, because my school actually ends a lot closer to lunchtime than you might think. Lunch is about 1 o'clock and the school day ends at 3 o'clock. So it's only about 2 hours. So I get in some carbohydrates then, which gives me energy. So then when I go to the gym, I can exert all of the energy and make the most of those carbohydrates. Whether I'm trying to work early in the morning, if I've woken up at 5 o'clock, I'm trying to do some scripting, some editing, I'll try not to eat carbohydrates because they'll fog your brain. You might have heard of this before, it's called brain fog, but it's basically when you eat like food that's hard to digest. It's not hard to digest, but it's just heavy on your digestion system, like carbohydrates. It's going to make you more tired, more fatigued, you won't be able to focus. So if you're trying to do some work in the morning, I'd stay away from it, especially if you're not going to the gym early in the morning. But I always get in some carbs at lunchtime, so then I'm ready to go to the gym. And then I also make sure to get in carbohydrates after my workouts. So this will kind of drain your glycogen levels, which is basically just a carbohydrate levels. You're going to be tired after the gym, that feeling of fatigue. So again, we're going to want to be getting in protein, but second, most importantly, we want to be getting in more carbohydrates to refuel our muscles and just help us perform better. So remember, protein all around the clock and carbohydrates before and after your workouts. So what about fats? Well, fats are very important, and they're so important for your diet and also being able to bulk up, because 1 tablespoon of olive oil has over 100 calories or something crazy like that. So I get in a lot of fats, mostly through grass-fed butter, organic coconut oil, or extra virgin olive oil. Basically just through some oils. However, you want to space them as far away from your workout as possible. So on my eggs in the morning, I'll drizzle like a couple tablespoons of olive oil, which will add 250 calories to the meal, which is great because I'm trying to bulk up healthily. But also, I'm going to have fats at the end of the day of my dinner after the gym, because fats will make it harder for you to perform well in the gym because they're the hardest thing to digest for your body. Although they're very good for you, you need to make sure you keep them away from your workout so you don't interrupt with like your muscle building, and also just if you're trying to digest a lot in the gym, it's not going to be great. So try and get in your fats at the start of the day and at the end of the day. You need to get them in, but keep it as far away from your workouts as possible. So remember, protein all around the clock, carbohydrates before and after your workouts, and fats at the beginning and end of your day. And if you know that, you know exactly how and when to eat each macronutrient. In short though, we want to be prioritizing protein as much as possible. Calculate how many grams of protein you need, which is 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you're 160 pounds, you need 160 grams of protein per day. It's that easy to calculate. And you need to make sure you're getting that in, you're prioritizing that as much as possible. So straight from when you wake up, when you eat your first meal, breakfast, you want to be getting in that protein. Talk about how I've been eating 8 eggs for breakfast. And I understand many of you, because my parents are the same. Your mom might come in and see you making that many eggs and question you. But you might have to defy your parents a bit. What's the worst that can happen? Because you need those gains. You need to be able to get in all of the cholesterol and all of the protein that you need to build more muscle and have more energy inside of the gym. So if you're gonna have to do that, you might have to defy your parents a little bit, but they'll understand eventually. But you want to get in your eggs, and then at lunch get in more protein, and you want to try and meet your protein target as early as possible. You want to get that out the way, get it off your mind. So if you can reach your protein target, then the rest of the day you can kind of use your calories on what you want. Because I've been bulking up, and I'm sure many of the guys on this channel are doing the same thing, and that's when we can have a bit of fun with this. So let's say that you reach your calories already, and you've already gotten in your healthy carbohydrates and all of your lean protein sources, and you've hit your protein goal for the day. With dinner, you can eat dessert if you want to. It's completely up to you at this point. Yes, if you want to stay eating clean because you want to optimize for a healthy brain and everything like that, you can do that, sure. But if you want to have a treat, you want to have some popcorn, you want to have a brownie, you can do that because you're bulking up. So don't forget that. You know, it seems like in this video that I eat such a perfect diet all the time, but that's not true. 2 nights ago, I had a pizza, a sourdough pizza. It was very nice. And, you know, yeah, I can have brownies and cookies every now and again. Because I am still bulking up, I need to have over 3,000 calories per day. So make sure that you don't forget that you still can have some fun. Follow the 80-20 rule, which is 80% of the time you're eating clean single ingredient foods, and then 20% of the time you can have some fun. And just remember, eating like a traditional bodybuilder with all of this shit food is pretty effective. You will be able to gain weight and you will build muscle. But we want to live to 90 years old, right? We want to get old. We want to live a long life, and we're also not injecting steroids. You can't forget that all these guys are giving you advice to eat donuts and drink chocolate milk. They're all on steroids, so it doesn't affect them as much. They're literally enhanced. We are natural, so the food will affect us a lot more. So don't forget this and stick to a clean diet however and when possible. But also focus on finding a balance between the two. I understand if you enjoy like a cookie here and a brownie there, and that's completely fine as long as it fits into your diet effectively. But for the most part, in the morning and at lunch, you want to try and get in healthy, clean foods. And then in the evening, right before you're sleeping, if you want to get in a little treat, that's completely fine, especially if you're bulking like most of the guys on my channel. So this is exactly the diet that you want to follow to be able to get jacked, put on muscle, and stay lean, because it completely worked for me, and I know that it will work for you too. And if you want my full program, my full guided system to take you from skinny to jacked in 90 days, check out the top link in the description. I've just moved it to a platform called School, and it's going to be 10 times better, and it will help you all make so much more progress inside of the gym. So go check out the top link in the description right now. And to end this video off, I want to touch on supplementation. I take 4 main supplements a day. So the first one is caffeine. In the morning, I usually just have a black coffee. So I have my coffee right here because it's pretty early. It's a Saturday and it's about 8 o'clock in the morning when I'm recording this video, so I'm a bit tired. So I always have caffeine in the morning, and also if you have caffeine before the gym, that's great. But if you go to the gym late, try not to get the caffeine in, because then, you know, you won't be able to sleep. I'm sure you all know that. But the 2 main supplements I take are vitamin D3 and zinc. So avoid vitamin D2 because that's a synthetic compound, but if you get vitamin D3, then this is what will allow you to build a lot more muscle. Let me explain. What happens when you take vitamin D? It's the same thing you get from the sun. But basically everyone is not getting enough sun these days. If you think back to our caveman ancestors, they were getting so much more sun than us, and that's why all of their testosterone levels were so much higher, and they also had so much more fuel and desire to go out there and hunt and seize their days. However, we kind of lack that these days, and because we're not getting enough vitamin D. So by supplementing vitamin D, I take about 5,000 to 10,000 IUs per day, which might be more than recommended. However, it's made me feel great and I have so much more energy. But it will boost your testosterone production. But when you do this, producing more testosterone will lower your levels of zinc. So that's why you also want to supplement zinc at the same time. They kind of work together. So get about 50 milligrams of zinc per day and 5,000 to 10,000 IUs of vitamin D, and you're good to go. And the last thing I take sometimes is magnesium. And magnesium is simple. You just take it before bed and it will help you fall asleep a bit easier. And it will also just aid your recovery by relaxing your muscles. So that's a great one too if you've had a hard session in the gym. So now you know everything. How to eat right, and also the supplements you can take. So remember, check out the top link in the description. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was helpful, giving you everything that I know about diet and nutrition. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.